Fiancé, 35 male. Compared my 28 female antidepressants to cocaine and wants me off them. I have the loveliest, most charming and attentive fiancé. We had a whirlwind romance for 9 months in which he proposed over quarantine. He is everything I want in a partner and I love him deeply. The last 3 months were rough for me. I had a car accident, started a small business and had a family member pass away. My fiancé and I weren't getting along because I was stressed, crying, and had to enter serious therapy to deal with the effects of the accident. I was unhealthily dependent on my fiancé and would call him nightly just sobbing my eyes out. I started taking a low-dose antidepressant. Finally, I'm not fixated on the accident. I'm happy and go lucky. I'm back swimming again, my favorite activity. Calling friends and my business is doing well. I admit I have less time for my fiancé. I'm much less needy. Sometimes I can't get to my phone in time and miss his calls, when before I couldn't leave my room and needed to be connected 24/7. My fiancé sat me down and expressed his concerns. He told me he loves me, but he's noticed a change in personality. He said he spoke with a few doctors and antidepressants can even compared to cocaine, and that I could be doing lasting damage to myself. He said, I can support you through all the pain and the messiness. I love you and I want you in my life forever. He said I should call my doctor and request to come off. I kind of balked and he didn't take it well. He requested that I at least respond to his messages in a reasonable time, that he knows me well and this new personality isn't the real me and I'm moving too much. I'm kind of concerned with other behavior from my fiancé. He wants me to wear baggier clothes to the gym and wants to be involved in every decision I make. When it comes to meeting new clients, he wants to know who they are, otherwise he says it seems shady. I have a possible contract that would take me out of town and he expressed concern, telling me I need to stay close to family. I love him, but every conversation turns into him telling me that I have to work harder so he can trust me. Besides counseling, what else can I do? Edit. Just want to say I have no plans of getting off my medication, it's non-negotiable. TLDR fiancé doesn't want me on SSRIs. Red flags of coercive control here. He likes you dependent on him. I'm positive he did not find a few doctors who said antidepressants are like cocaine and can lead to brain damage. This statement would be laughable if he wasn't so obviously trying to control you. Lovely, charming and attentive is how these types usually start out. It's called love bombing. Start being strong and independent, refusing to play his games, and see how long that lasts, though. Proceed carefully, because I've seen this turn ugly. Do not come off medication. Do not give him access to your medication. He will tamper with it. I'm not joking. He is lying about speaking to a few psychiatrists and antidepressants being like cocaine. He wants you off him, so that you are dependent on him again. This man wants to control you. That's what he's interested in. Why wouldn't he be happy that you're doing so well? Your whirlwind romance started with love bombing and now he's panicking cause you're happy and less dependent on him. Keep an eye on your medication at all times. He does not love you. He wants control over you. I have the loveliest, most charming and attentive fiancé. No you don't lol, if you did he wouldn't have compared antidepressants to cocaine and want you to get off of them. Do you know the type of person who wants the person they love off medication that is helping them? Controlling, manipulative assholes is who. He said he spoke with a few doctors and antidepressants can even compared to cocaine, and that I could be doing lasting damage to myself. Tell him you want to speak to those doctors personally without him. He will say no. Sounds to me likes you to depend on him. To an unhealthy level. Add to that he's trying to control what you wear and be involved in every decision you make. Yeah, controlling and manipulative. He wants you off your med. A med that is helping you and a doctor prescribed for you. I'd freaking dump him. Op. And, please, 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 op. Be super duper careful with your birth control. Keep your birth control pills hidden away so he can't mess with them. And triple check the condoms. An unplanned pregnancy would bind him to you for life. He liked you broken more than he likes you whole. If you've had a whirlwind 9-month relationship, and many of those months you were going through turbulent personal issues, it's pretty safe to say he doesn't know the real you. nor you the real him. That said, so many red flags. Can you imagine doing business with someone who brought their partner with them to approve of you to make sure you weren't shady? Baggier clothes to the gym, really? If your friend dated someone pulling this crap, you'd say get married. There's no way in hell he's spoken to multiple real doctors that would compare antidepressants to cocaine. Maybe some shady anti-vaxxer websites, but not licensed practicing doctors. Plural. Don't marry this man, he's not lovely, charming or attentive. He's controlling and manipulating you. How could he possibly identify a change in personality in someone he's known for less than a year? Especially since you spent at least a third of that time having a mental health crisis. Red flags everywhere. Please don't marry him. You spelled, my fiancé is a selfish, inconsiderate tool who like to spout moronic ideas, wrong. This is stupid. I've done a lot of cocaine in my life and I've been on antidepressants. They are definitely not the same, lol. I do understand what he's trying to get at. But he's being controlling and stupid. I would rethink marrying him. In fact, wait for at least 5 years. He sounds controlling and you haven't met the real him. Good for you for recovering from your depression. That's a big accomplishment. Your partner is being unsupportive and controlling. If you feel better, that's what matters. He doesn't want you to be healthy and fulfilled. That's horrible. Red flags are everywhere. None of this reads as a loving, attentive boyfriend. It reads as someone who wants you to be dependent solely on him and control what you do. Hi op. Do any of these jump out at you? This guy is showing red flags everywhere. First of all, no. Second of all, what doctor spoke to him about your medical information and gave him that nonsense? As someone in mental health, I always caution focusing too much on partners, friends, family of my clients outside of their lens. Because those are not my clients and it's a huge ethical issue. I assume that because you are on medication you are seeing a MH professional. Discuss this with them, but the red flags are waving pretty hard. Control over your health, your way of dress, over your every move is alarming. I would pause the engagement at minimum until you can process with a therapist. Leave. U.R. Moving. Too much. Dude. I guarantee you he did not speak with a few different doctors. He probably Googled something and found one article saying something kinda bad about antidepressants. This is the beginning of an abusive relationship. And I mean it's already toxic. He is too controlling. It's only going to get worse. Please be careful and consider leaving. Drop him like it's hot. This is manipulation if I've ever heard it. He likes you being dependent on him. This is not okay, healthy. Get out of that relationship op, I beg you. He's not as amazing as you think he is. Imagine your sister, best friend, aunt, niece came to you and told you this exact story. What would you say to her? Because I would be extremely worried for my loved one's safety and well-being. Dude, you have to protect your health. You are seeing doctors and putting your life back together. I loved cocaine, but I would never in a million years compare it to Shrees. They are completely different drugs, and on top of it, those doctors didn't diagnose you. To paraphrase my favorite line in Sleepless in Seattle, their first name could be Doctor. That aside, if you are happy and less dependent on your fiancé, it would be a control move for him to push you back towards dependency. Maybe you could reassure him that this is working for you and that you still love him deeply, but that this is necessary, especially for this time in your life. Good luck. He prefers you as a wreck. He is not a good human. Why are you still with him? He proposed after 9 months and immediately wants to dictate your medical decisions. You really don't need us to tell you to leave him, right? This is 100% narcissistic abuse and gaslighting. He is using the moving the goalpost, classic narcissist strategy. Look it up. It might open a lot of doors into his behaviors, and what I'm guessing are more than you may think. Please, run. This is very controlling behavior designed to break you emotionally. If you aren't more than good enough as you are, with or without medicine, just you as a person, there is no point to marrying him. This will only escalate once he marries you. Eventually you won't be able to leave the house without asking for permission. This is a gigantic red flag. He is using his charm to blind you from the truth. Which doctors? What are their names? I'd like to speak to them directly before I make any decision about my medication. This will be the point the BF's bullshit will become clear. TLDR, fiancé doesn't want me on SSRIs. No honey, the too long did not read. Is your fiancé loved you being codependent on him and wants that back? Dude, seriously. You need to get out of this before it's too late. The red flags are everywhere. Guard your birth control with your life, or better yet, do not sleep with him. If he gets even a whiff that you're starting to pull away, he will do what he thinks is necessary to keep you tied to him forever. This is an abuser if I've ever seen one, and he cannot and will not get better with any kind of couples therapy. He doesn't love you, he wants to own you, and the fact that he's trying to keep you off your meds to make you easier to control is a dead giveaway. Run. You've never given him a reason not to trust you. He is controlling, and he's only comfortable when he can manipulate the situation. Since you had a whirlwind lockdown relationship, it's easy to feel like you're in a cozy little relationship bubble. Shit is crazy, so obviously you bond over that time and it feels closer than it is. If you're saying you're not clingy and you're independent normally, but your fiancé is trying to tell you that's weird, it's because he doesn't know you outside of the quarantine bubble. You know you, real deep down, and you know what's best for you. Antidepressants help you get back to the old you, and it sounds like he liked you better when you were in a weaker state. Antidepressants are linked to serotonin. Cocaine is linked to dopamine. He didn't spoke to any doctor, he just doesn't like the way you're able to live your life, again. I'm not sure if he is afraid of losing you or wants you under his control. But his behavior is highly manipulative, and for me, I'd be a red flag. A huge one. If only SSRIs were actually like coke. So many problems would be solved, lol. Your boyfriend is nuts. Who the fuck says that to someone clearly doing better on meds? If your fiancé is not a doctor, let him know that you follow your doctor's advice. If he wants to be helpful in terms of your mental health, he can do the dishes or something, not give unsolicited advice about your medication. If you need, work harder so he can trust you, just because you're happier and taking care of yourself. He's either crazy or intentionally gaslighting you. You deserve better than crazy, and nobody deserves to be gaslit. If by some chance he really believes his bullshit, maybe Mr. Crazy. Antidepressants are like cocaine. Guy can get together with the most crazy. Vaccines are worse than cheating. Lady, someone else posted about today. Based on everything you've said, this is 100% a control move. Whirlwind romances are also common precursors to abusive relationships, because then the abuser doesn't have to keep it up longer. This is narcissistic abuse. I have been there. I was emotionally abused in this way for 3 years, and it slowly destroyed every living piece of me and left me empty and depressed. And the worst thing is, like you I thought my partner was charming and loving. With this type of abuse, things progress so slowly and along with charm. The whirlwind at the start is always the telltale sign, and then slowly taking control of every aspect of your life. Please read further into this type of abuse. The overwhelmed brain. He's known you for 9 months. He doesn't know the real you. I was on antidepressants for 7 years, never ever had my psychiatrists call it cocaine-like. If they're helping you, stay on them. You control what you put in your body, not him. Good luck, op. Glad to hear you're doing better. Your fiancé is extremely controlling, and not just about the medication. You have a doctor, discuss this with them. I'm sure your doctor will assure you that SSRIs are not comparable to cocaine. I would challenge your fiancé to provide you with some peer review studies supporting his assertion. A therapist should be able to help you to establish boundaries and be assertive with your fiancé if you choose to continue this relationship, or help you get out of decide to end it with him. Antidepressants are nothing like cocaine. They allow you to function normally, if working correctly, and the only time to change is when they stop doing this. There's a reason he's the only guy willing to discuss a timeline for kids. Every action, request, and/or characteristic of his you have described is creepy. Something is off for sure. Get yourself some space. Listen to your therapist. Take things slowly. If he's a decent man, he'll be patient and understand. This is what I would suggest if you absolutely won't leave him now. Except I really think you should call it off immediately. Too many issues with him. Too many things he's trying to control. This is still abuse, even if it's not physical, yet. Please be careful with your antidepressants and birth control, as others on here have suggested. You don't know what he'll do. Please read a copy of Dangerous Relationships and How They End in Murder. It's not just about murder but the stages of coercive control and how they begin. Some of the things you describe here are basically textbook, including the quick proposal. Please read this book. I've seen enough true crime television to say that nothing good can come of this. I can't count how many times I heard nearly identical stories about a partner exactly like you're describing, from women that barely made it out alive from a relationship that started out exactly like you are describing. He will only become more controlling, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and very likely abusive on top of that, physical and otherwise. My advice would be to proceed with extreme caution, and make sure you have all your ducks in a row, and be prepared to make a hasty exit. SSRIs are designed to be non-addictive with minimum side effects. If you wanted to stop taking them you could, but under no circumstances should you do that cause your fiancé told you to. They are in no way like cocaine. Him saying they are is frankly a joke. Tell him to drop it. If he refuses, tell him to bring you to said doctors, because if any of them are worth their shit they would say he's being absurd. Isn't his insistence that you work harder so that he can trust you a red flag? Guilty until proven innocent. Congrats. You are dating a moron and an asshole. Mental health is important. Run. This is extremely controlling behavior. No. I had an ex-boyfriend who planted the seed in my head that antidepressants were a crutch and turned you into someone you're not. I was young and just dealing with my mental health, and wound up giving up on him after only a month on them. He wasn't the only factor that made me doubt using him, but he was the biggest. I regret letting him do that to me. You, though, have realized you are better off with your medication. That's great. Do not let him plant any seeds in your head. Like everyone else said, he wants you dependent on him. He's making things up. There's no way SSRIs are even close to cocaine. If you aren't ready to leave him, please at least consider delaying your engagement. This isn't healthy at all. So him trying to be your doctor is fourth on the list of nopes. This will escalate. You have known him 9 months. He hid his controlling side from you. Counseling won't fix this. Please do not do couples counseling with him. So many red flags and warnings. You know it's not right. Listen to your gut and that little voice inside. You know what you need to do. You got this. Kick him to the curb. Live your fabulous life. He's definitely trying to control you. You in danger, girl.